Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Haute Mode, and today on Haute Mode we're getting into our Haute Couture celebrity fashion roast and review. So there was a lot of looks that were not great, downright uncomfortable in certain circumstances. We must discuss them, unfortunately. We're starting off pungently with Anya Taylor-Joy wearing Dior. I don't want to blame her because, again, like, the source material is tough, but this one's scary. There's two vantage points. A lot of what I saw originally was this back side shot where it looks like she's wearing an arm sling, almost like she broke her arm before the shows so that she didn't have to go to Paris. She'd be like, oh, I'm gonna miss it. You know, I broke my arm. No. It's just leather gloves that tie at the back. And then it's like an asymmetrical bodysuit that is then paired with like a black brief that has a black fringe skirt over top. And then from the front, it's just as ghastly, if not worse, because then you can really see it and it's so confusing. The other thing is, like, why not a coat? You know, throw a coat on her. It's cold in Paris, I think. This one kind of speaks for itself. It's really an abomination. There's so much happening, which is not really something I ever say about Maria Grazia's Dior. And yet, it all is happening at once in the worst possible ways. And honestly feels just like the world right now. It's just, you can't escape bad thing after bad thing. Next up, we have Aya Nakamura, who is wearing Jean-Paul Gaultier. Now, honestly, I love the concept of the dress. I think this baby blue is beautiful. I don't even mind the halter with the cutout of, like, the corset, this laced up corset, skirt, bodice thing. It's an interesting moment. I think it's very Jean-Paul Gaultier. It goes into that idea of corsetry and the things that he's explored over his career. I just think that a satin like this doesn't help. It is wrinkled, but at certain circumstances, the lacing actually looks like wrinkling. If you're going to pull it tight, it's going to wrinkle, and then it's going to look weird, and it just doesn't flesh out the body in the way that I think we intended to flesh it out. It's a beautiful canvas, you know what I mean? She's stunning. Like, I love the actual nip-in at the waist. I love the way that it hits the hip and the way that it falls. I think it's just, again, like that wrinkling on the side, the way that the light reflects off of it, it just imperfects it, you know what I mean? Like, it's not an imperfect piece, it's just the way that it has to be photographed, because that's how photography works. It's gonna make it not look amazing. So, I don't really mind the dress in concept. Maybe it looked different in person, but here, photography-wise, wrinkle. Next up, we have Colman Domingo. He's wearing Valentino. He is a Valentino gentleman, and he's really been layering on the prints. Now, it's a printed shirt and matching pair of pants. Now, the shirt isn't tucked in, which I actually think works really well here because, again, the print falls easily from afar. You can't really tell that it's not tucked in. He's wearing a sort of different printed silk belt with a fringe, and he's been doing that a lot lately. But I love the fact that we're actually getting a houndstooth shoe and then this sort of goldish beige blazer. And in a weird way, the blazer to me kind of ties it all together. It minimalizes one singular section of it, plays with color, plays with concept, plays with print, plays with pattern, and layering things on, which is a very Alessandro Michele thing to do. I think it's an intriguing look. Again, take some time to digest, but also what I'll say is, like, this aesthetic is not going anywhere anytime soon, so it's kind of like a buckle up for the ride, people. I can get into this. Like, this is something that I can eventually reckon with. And even when menswear isn't my favorite, at least it's interesting menswear. Next up, we have Demi Moore. She's wearing Armani Privé. I can't find a better picture of this, and I'm really sorry. I would like to also take this moment to say hi, PR whoever's that are watching this video, because I'm told that you all have to watch these videos. I apologize in advance. Can we do better with the photos? And I know it's not your fault, but, like, can we be a little snappier with the pictures? I need, like, a good background at least, because I can only find pictures of Demi Moore here where she's all blurry, or she's, like, walking in the streets and it's not really great pictures. So if you can talk to your bosses about that, that would be great. I love this jacket. I love the way that it creates a peplum. I love the full sequin of it all, because in reality, like, it's a fully sequined blazer, which again, I think is that Armani Privé handcraftedness. I think the black velvet pants work with it. I love the layering of the necklaces underneath. It's really sparkly up top, and that's what it wants to be, and I think it works, and she looks great. Next up, we have Dianna Agron, and she is wearing Armani Privé as well. Now, this is a black opaque blazer and a pair of black sheer trousers. Again, I think it works. I think that not only is the silhouette fantastic, honestly, it's simple and it's clean, but the fact that it's all sparkled makes it. I like the idea of not sheer top, but a sheer trouser. So you're seeing a little bit of thigh, but not really. It's like the outline. In a weird way, like that's what he kind of does a lot on the runway with Armani Privé. You see a lot of sheer pieces, and it's a lot of sheer suiting. I think that that makes what I would say a little bit more like mature and also conservative suiting more intriguing on the Privé runway. I think she looks wonderful here. It's simple, but at the same time, like that's also what works about Armani Privé. Next up, we have Dua Lipa. She's wearing Chanel. We're going to be very Chanel heavy here for a minute, so buckle up, buttercups. It's the opera coat, I think, that I'm most upset with. And I understand that Chanel's been doing a lot of these opera coats lately from the Haute Couture shows. I just don't think that this, like, serves Dua well. She's stunning. She's beautiful. And I think the all black everything from the stocking to the shoe to the dress to the top to the bow to the bag to the jewelry to the coat, it's just a lot, and I don't think it really shows anything off super duper well. I know that there are other pictures of her not wearing the cape, but I haven't really been able to find them, so I'm not putting them in here. But it felt like it really dampened what could be a simpler but easier look. I'm not really mad again because I feel like Chanel is in this weird limbo. There's no creative director. It's really just about smooth sailing until Mathieu Blazy comes in October. I don't hate it, but it feels almost like we put a fire blanket on the fire. Like, I understand why we had to put the blanket on, but at the same time, it smothers the flame. Fernanda Torres and Chanel, that's a Chanel woman. I love this. I think that this is a great example of the Chanel on somebody a little older, where it still looks refined, it still looks really chic. I love this floor-length coat. The fact that you can see the embellishments from the top of the neck in these camellias in white that flow all the way down. They pipe the cuff. It's a lovely, lovely style on her. It feels like something that I've seen on the runway, also like something I've seen on Tilda Swinton before, but it's not. Maybe it is, but it's not. But either way, if you can sell it to me as well as Tilda Swinton, like, we're doing good. I think this is simpler, but again, it is good. It doesn't dampen anything. It just fits, to me, the character that Fernanda Torres is, which is like refined, strong, determined, experienced actor. Thespian. And for the fellow girlies, I did not say lesbian, I said thespian. That is an actor. Learn something new every day. Next up, we have Flowerovlove. She is a performer. This is her first Chanel Haute Couture show, I believe. Here's the thing that I love about this is, like, this is the young, fun Chanel that I think is great. And I think that's what was so wonderful about Karl Lagerfeld Chanel. You could do something that a client who can afford it on their own buck or credit, they could find something that worked for them. They could wear to a gala, they could wear it just in their everyday life. But then also you had these sort of younger flares that enticed an audience that wasn't necessarily like the standard haute couture client that was probably a little higher up in the age scale. I think Fernanda Torres is a great example of it can be incredibly chic. But I also think that it's fun for young people to fantasize about a Chanel that they also would think they want to wear. So that's why I'm saying this, because I know people are going to be like, you're ageist. And it's like, I'm not. I think that there's different elements to this brand, different sides to it. There's two sides to the Chanel. You know, two sides of the same coin. I think the tweed looks lovely. It reminds me of school uniforms, kind of, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 80s, like pinny kind of uniforms that you would wear over top of a button-down shirt. I love the layering of the jewelry, the socks with the peep toe heel. I think it all is good. Even the camellia on the sock is just like subtle little working movement and styling choice. I just think that she looks cool and fun. I don't think that G-Dragon and Chanel looks cool and fun. I know that I'm going to get dragged for this. I don't care. I think he looks like, I don't know. I was going to say Pennywise, but he doesn't. It's just clowny. It's a clowny look, and I don't enjoy it. Something about Chanel is like they're so obsessed with this frill neck lace thing. And like it can work sometimes, but everything has like these frilly, lacy clown bibs, and I can't get behind it. The way that the pants pull on the floor, the big bow under the robe, like you couldn't just take the lace bib, but no, he had to add a bow onto it. The jacket and the pant in and of itself, print or lace wise, is just like, it's a lot. It's a lot of look, and I don't think that it actually does anything good for anybody. Me looking at it, him wearing it, doesn't look good. Next up, we have Gabrielle Union. She is wearing Schiaparelli. Listen, I very rarely say that these sort of bandagey, sheer, stripe dresses look good. I think they look good. I think this one looks good on her. I don't know if it's the dress proportions of opaque to sheer. Opaque to sheer is different. I don't know what it is, but I do think that this one actually works for the first time, I think, ever on this channel. It's happening, and I'm sold on it. I don't know how Schiaparelli it is, to be completely fair, but it's good to me. So I'm going to take it. Next up, we've got Mick wearing Jean Paul Gaultier. I love this black velvet. I think it's like a blazer dress that has all these different frilled, ruffled bibs. I know that they have a very specific period adjacent name that I cannot think of off the top of my head. But what I think is great about this look is it's not just one frilled, bibby, frothiness. It's falling down the actual dress, so it's at least 3 different pieces, I would assume, maybe more. And I think that's what makes it kind of intriguing, kind of exciting, is it moves straight down the front and sort of separates, parts the Red Sea. At the same time, I think the black velvet, again, nips everything in and allows it to be the center fold. And I believe this is vintage. It's from 2005, which don't know what season it is, so I know people are going to be mad that I say vintage because it's not 20 years or older, and that's fair, and I get it, but also I just use vintage as a colloquialism for not current. I was born in the 20th century, okay? So, I understand being called old. People say, oh, I'm born in 2001. Shut up. I'm there with you. This, I believe, actually is vintage. Next up, we have Hunter Schafer. Honestly, she looks so hot. This wet hair look is fantastic. I actually think that this is a great lace set. I love the fact that it's tailored. I feel like lace normally is like dresses and flounces and da-da-da. It's very rare to me that I think you see it in a tailored format. I really enjoy the sort of frock coat, capri, white laceful look. The other thing that I really think is fantastic about it is the theme of the Jean Paul Gaultier collection by Ludovic Desjardins, because this is a custom look by Ludovic for JPG, is that it was a shipwreck theme. So the fact that the hair is wet, the fact that it has almost like a pirate feeling to it, in my personal opinion, I just think that it feels like we went for the theme. We dressed to the theme, even the hair and the makeup. I think it fits Hunter fantastically. I love the little peplum. It's a well done piece of lace work to me. Even you can see the back of it. There's a tail to it. It's almost like a tailcoat, but it's not. I'm obsessed. Next up, we have Jenna Ortega, and she is wearing Dior. Now, this is a cap sleeve blazer that I believe had a pant that was chopped and turned into a short, and then we added the stockings and the shoes and the gloves. For Dior, it's not bad. It's working. I see the vision. I understand what we are doing. It's still Dior. And one Dior designer is out, Kim Jones. For Dior, it's not bad, but again, in the context of everybody else, I'd never put that in a slideshow and show this to you. There's a lot of images in the world of people wearing clothes that I don't show, we don't talk about, because they're not really that interesting. Sometimes things are so bad that they're good and interesting. Sometimes they're so bad that they're just interesting. Sometimes they're so good that they're interesting. But there's a lot of stuff we just don't talk about because it's not interesting. And this is one of those looks. It's on Jenna Ortega, so have to talk about it. So that's my issue. And I also don't blame anybody that's not Dior for this problem. You're working with what the source material is. Next up, we have Jennie Kim, who is wearing Chanel. This is really, it's a crazy one. It's a kooky, it's so bad that it's good kind of kooky. It's a pair of black wide leg trousers, and she's wearing a heel. It's a feather flounced baby blue capelet that's here. It's crazy, and she's also wearing a jewelry waist belt, and so much is going on here. Again, I enjoy the fact that she did something out there. Doesn't really make any sense to me, but at the same time, considering how kooky it is to throw these things together, I think it kind of works. I see the vision of what we were doing. It was very Studio 54 via Chanel, possibly. Maybe I'm just making that up, I don't know, but that's the vibe I'm getting from it. Disco Queen. At least she did something interesting. We have something to talk about, and we're back to not having interesting things to talk about. Jisoo is wearing Dior here. She's wearing a leather 3/4 length sleeve blazer jacket. It's not really a blazer, it's a jacket. And I do actually love the skirt. It's really lovely, sort of rib textured sheer skirt. The silhouette looks really good on her. It is very Maria Grazia Dior silhouette, an adaptation of Christian Dior's look. It's just not as exaggerated. And I do think that that's what Maria Grazia does well. And it's taking me time to get there, but I am there. I understand it. I respect it. It's just I don't like to have to look at it if I don't have to. It's fine. It's nice. It works. I get it. If I saw it down the street, I'd say, oh, okay. And then I'd forget about it in 10 seconds, you know? So, like, that's the thing. It's not an affront to my eyes. I'd rather, at a certain point, it be affronting to my eyes than just blah. Next up, we have Kylie Jenner. She is wearing Chanel. I don't know if any of us thought we would see the day where Kylie Jenner showed up to a Chanel Haute Couture show, but here we are. I'm going to assume that it was like a Timothée Chalamet thing because he's a brand ambassador for Chanel, or at least like fragrance. So I assume that's kind of why it was happening, but I don't really know. I think this looks great on her. I think that this is, again, that Chanel early 1990s ready-to-wear fantasy that I enjoy, and it's something that Carl built into the brand. It's turning the tweed skirt suit into something a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old would want to wear out and about. The kitten heel, maybe not for me, but like I get it as well. I think it's better off with a kitten heel than a flat or even like a taller heel. I think that this feels reasonable. I think the bag works. I think the chain belt. I think this is all stuff that she looks good. I can't deny that. So I gotta give it to her. You know what I mean? Like, this is young Chanel fantasy that people and young people like want to buy into if they could afford Chanel Haute Couture. Chanel ready to wear. Like, they would buy it if they could. They buy it off Shein. It's not Chanel. You know, it's Shein now. She's doing the job. And she looks good doing it. Can't deny it. We have another Kylie look, though, where she is wearing Jean-Paul Gaultier. This is a custom look. She actually, like, walked the runway. Kind of crazy. But not, like, the actual runway. She just, like, walked on the runway either before or after the show happened. And I believe this look that she's wearing was, like, a cut look. There is a version of it. It's different, obviously, but it's a similar skirt style and similar bodice moment that actually walked the runway. I think it looks good bodice-wise. I actually really love the bodice. I think that it is Ludovic de Saint-Saëns understanding the core elements of Gaultier, corsetry, lingerie. I love the halter neck. I think the skirt's maybe the only thing I don't love, but also I wasn't really able to see it like up like there wasn't like a full shot unless it had like a lot of filters on it. So it's kind of like hard to see, to understand. I think I like the skirt better on the runway, but again, like I love it from the top of the hip up. Next up, we have Laufey. She is wearing Chanel. I love it. I feel like I haven't seen her in a good Chanel moment, and I think that this feels very reminiscent of Virginie's work. But again, there's something great about the not heavy styling. Like, normally she'd have to be wearing leggings, like white leggings or white stockings or some kind of crazy printed something that would just ruin what essentially could be like a really simple, easy look. This skirt or shorts, I don't know which it is, they look good. I love this sort of flop over collar cape thing. I think the jacket's nice. I like the shoe. Like, this is what could have been with Virginie. It could have been so simple and so easy and so like blah, but also at the same time, you couldn't have said all that much about it, except it's boring. The styling was always so crazy. And then it had to be that the ambassadors wore the crazy styling stuff, and it ruined it. And I just feel like this is a good example of what we could have had. We just didn't get it. It was so fussy. So it's nice to see something not fussy. They're able to all breathe, I feel. Next up, we have Lily Rose Depp. She's wearing Chanel as well. The skirt length is so long to me, and I think it's awkward. And again, I never talk about people's bodies, but I just don't think that skirt length actually emphasizes her body well. I think that it going over the knees doesn't work. I think it's too long. And then the peep toe, kind of kitten heel, does not help. The stockings don't help. I actually like the top. Again, it's that frilly Chanel, not really clown, but like clown adjacent kind of style, and it can be fun and it can be cool and it can be young and it can happen. I just think that, and I'm not saying this had to be a mini skirt, but I feel like maybe halfway up to the knee would have been fine. A little over the knee would have been great, but covering the knee, not helping as a shorty, you know, and I know this. I'm 5'7". It's being a short shorty, you got to figure it out, and this is not working. Next up, we have Lisa Rinna. She's taking me out in the Stephane Rolland. The hair is living, but the actual jacket dress thing, I don't love. And I didn't love it when I saw it at the Golden Globes. I don't love it now. I think it's a weird little thing. It looks better, at least it shot better in this regard, this coat, dress, jacket, jumpsuit, whatever it is. And the hair really is also like selling me on it much more because I'm just focusing on the hair. It's a weird piece. What I did love was Lisa Rinna and Viktor and Rolf. Now, I know you're going to say, Luke, that's crazy. what are you talking about? But like, that's what's great about it. You know what I mean? Like, she's wearing a polka dot upside down. It's a very cone. And it's crazy. And then paired with the green skirt, I think it works. I'm sold on it. Like, it's meant to be 80s costume couture. And that's Viktor and Rolf. And I'm into it. So Rinna, beautiful. And also, that could wear anybody very easily. Very, very easily. She's not letting it wear her. Next up, we have Megan Thee Stallion. She is wearing Jean-Baptiste Valli. I love this. I think the hood is beautiful on her. I think this peachy color is great. I even really enjoy the flowers on the side. I love the gathering. I love the texture of it. Like, she looks ethereal and lovely. And I think that's what works, is when still body conscious-esque, which I think is Megan Thee Stallion's brand. And I think that when people allow their brands to meld with the brand that they're wearing, it works out for the best. But then she wore Jean-Paul Gaultier, and I feel like this was forced. Like, we were forced, not that she was forced to wear it, but I think that the idea of like making it super sexy, show off the body, feels forced here. And I think it's because she's wearing a pair of crystal rose briefs and a high-low trench coat and like a sexy sock and a heel. And it looks really crazy. And like, not in a good crazy. It's a weird crazy. It doesn't make sense. And I know that this is, I believe, from the Simone Rocha collection. I just think that there are other things from that collection possibly that could have worked. I don't know. I also think like this is the perfect experience for her to wear like a beautiful corset. To do the Gaultier lingerie, da-da-da-da-da. This is not the lingerie I'm talking about. The crystal rose brief is not the one I meant. It's more so like beautiful corset, stunning, lace, like something like that could work here and could very much so play into like her hot girl aesthetic. I just think that this looks, I want to say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, because even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. Next up, we have Nicola Coughlan, and I hate this because every time that I talk about Nicola Coughlan, I feel like I don't like the outfit, and I feel like people must think that I'm mean about her, and that's not the case. Her in this Dior in particular is not great. And I like Dairy Girls, and I watch Bridgerton, and she's great in everything that she does. It's just, the outfits are not outfitting to me. So here's my issue, first and foremost. I actually like don't mind the skirt, and don't mind the stocking, and don't mind the heel, whatever. The jacket's a little weird because it kind of like is a bateau neckline jacket, maybe with straps. I don't really understand it. It's kind of like falling off, breaking away, but like not in a deconstruction manner. So it's just kind of strange. But I think what the worst part about it is, it's, I assume, meant to be like a moire silk. I don't know if it actually is a moire silk, but it looks like a moire silk. You know, that's where the silk sort of moves and it looks almost like you put gasoline in water and it creates these beautiful, you know, sort of stunning waves in the silk. But the issue is it looks wrinkled, and then the moire makes it look even more wrinkled. So I thought it was like a wrinkle thing because Dior done wrinkles before, but it's not. And I don't get what they're going for here. And again, it's like, it's not even her fault at this point. It's like source material. It's bad. I don't know what's happening. I really would love for her to be just put in like beautiful custom Dior couture, because it would be hot and sexy and wonderful and gorgeous and ethereal and magnificent. It's just, they put her in this. Next up, we have Pamela Anderson. I'm calling her pleated Pam in this. It's beautiful. I love this sort of loose, flowy top with the pleated skirt underneath. I love the ruffles. I love the bow. I also love the fact that Pam is kind of moving and grooving in it. Like, she's selling you on the garment. That's really important. She looks good. Really feel like she's had a pretty great season looks-wise. We also have Pam in Dior. This is probably like the best, or one of the best looks that I've seen. I like the jacket. I like this sort of scarf drape thing. I even don't mind the belt, and I normally hate a belt, but I think the belt works. I like the pants. I don't love the side of the pants. You can't see them here, but they kind of have like a side stripe, and it's meant to be like track pants, and it's like, why? Why do we need to make the pants track pants? Why are they just not nice pants? But I digress. I love the hat with the veil. I like this look. I think the fabric works well, like a gray wool, very signature Dior. I'm into this. Next up, we have Regina King, who's wearing Schiaparelli. It's a simple white suit, oversized pant, beautiful little sort of lock, buckle, or button on the blazer front. It's clean. It's easy. I don't mind it. For Schiaparelli, it's ready to wear, I assume, because I don't think I've ever seen this on the runway for Haute Couture. I like the bag. Like, I just think she looks good. It's simple. It's clean. It has interesting little features. Works. And finally, we have Sonam Kapoor. She's wearing Dior. The thing is, I actually don't mind the jacket that much. It's a faux fur coat that is lined in the canage quilting. So The canage quilting is based on like the chairs of brasseries that you sit on in Paris. It's like a signature Dior quilted style. It's really fun. I actually think the coat is cool. I just think that the dress underneath, like the asymmetrical neckline, like we always need an asymmetrical neckline, and the boots, these ugly ass little like Adidas track pant boot. It's like a high boot. If it's meant to be like a performance fabric, shouldn't they fit better? Shouldn't they like fit to the body well? But they don't. They look all wrinkly and crinkly. Like, dumpy Dior, and it's not anybody else's fault except them. So let's talk about best and worst because it's finally over. Best, I'm giving to Lisa Rinna and Viktor and Rolf. Don't care what anybody says about that one. I'm gonna give it to Megan Thee Stallion on John Bautista Volley, Kylie Jenner and Chanel. Oh, Pamela Anderson and Chanel, Demi Moore, Armani Privé, Fernanda Torres and Chanel. Oh, and Hunter Schafer and Gaultier. As for worst, I'm gonna put Sonam Kapoor, Nicola Coughlan, Lisa Rinna, and Stephane Rolland. She's doing it all, or Rinna. Oh, and Anya Taylor-Joy. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this Haute Couture celebrity review. I will see you guys in the next video, and TTYL.